More people died in Senator Kennedy's car at Chappaquiddick than died in gas chambers at Auschwitz.
The Jews are responsible for Auschwitz.
That it is nothing but an international extortion racket by the Jews.
He had called the Holocaust a legend.
Between 1939 and 1945, during the 6 years of World War II and the Holocaust, over 6 million Jews, along with Roma, disabled people, Jehovah's Witnesses, and others were brutally murdered in extermination and concentration camps. The Holocaust was a critical part of World War II and a significant event in global history, an event that taught us the importance of education and speaking out. Like Elie Wiesel, an Auschwitz survivor, journalist, and advocate once said, "I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim." Holocaust survivors and the Jewish people have a right to life and faith, as well as the responsibility to tell their story and spread the truth. And part of that truth is confronting the horrors of what actually happened at concentration camps and truly realizing what Holocaust survivors suffered through. Camp prisoners were forcefully deported from their villages in cattle trains, often traveling for days without food, water, or even the space to sit to get to the camps. Once they arrived, they were stripped of their belongings. Their heads were shaved, and a long line of numbers were tattooed onto their arms or uniforms. The numbers represented their names, their whole existence. Prisoners slept in overfilled and wobbly bunk beds or on the muddy, dirty ground, surrounded by hundreds of people they'd never even met. Prisoners who weren't lucky enough to survive were initially killed by massive shootings until the Nazis invented gas chambers. Thousands of people would be locked in airtight chambers, killed over the course of 20 minutes as a lethal pesticide, Zyklon B, snaked around and suffocated them. Afterwards, the corpses would be thrown into pits or cremated, the ashes used as fertilizer. There was no hope for survival. As Heinrich Heine, a Jewish writer, once said, that was but a prelude. Where they burn books, they will ultimately burn people as well. Those who were lucky enough to survive had to work as laborers in forced labor detachments with almost no food or rest. Many of them were tortured or subjected to lethal medical experiments. The work was endless, brutal, and unforgiving. Any exhaustion or disobedience meant being killed immediately. Survival was nearly impossible. And yet, some people say that it never happened. In a 2023 survey conducted by the Anti-Defamation League, it was discovered that 20% of the global population has never heard of the Holocaust or believes it is a myth. Another nationwide survey in the United States found that over 63% of people were unaware of the basic facts of the Holocaust, massively underestimating the death toll by the millions. A recent 2025 study in Jewish News Syndicate revealed that over 48% of Americans, particularly younger generations, cannot name a single Holocaust camp or ghetto, meaning the Holocaust has not been well taught across the United States. This lack of education has had crippling impacts on the Jewish and global population, leading to significant cultural insensitivity and widespread anti-Semitism. On November 14, 2024, a Nazi flag was raised outside a home in Philadelphia. Although the flag was removed within minutes of the authorities being contacted, it still shouldn't have been possible for the family to get their hands on a Nazi flag in the first place. In various interviews, the surrounding neighbors explained that they didn't understand the issue of raising a Nazi flag and were conflicted by the authorities' reaction. In response to an interviewer, one neighbor explained, "It's not like the person is going to start building concentration camps and gassing the Jews." This reply demonstrates how culturally insensitive society has become in modern days, with many people fully disregarding the trauma that more than 6 million people went through, all represented by the Nazi flag. One of the biggest reasons that Holocaust education is not prioritized, especially in America, is because countries focus on their own history and often neglect other major events. Furthermore, the Holocaust has always been considered a very uncomfortable event, and that has been used as an excuse to ignore it. This attitude not only results in cultural insensitivity, but makes it significantly harder to repair the damage that was done during the Holocaust. To move forward, we must educate future generations about the Holocaust and normalize Holocaust discussions to restore the Jewish culture and promote global acknowledgement, as we must do with every other significant event in global history. Holocaust education is also a key part of restoring the Jewish culture and ensuring Jews, as a people, get to live in a society that treats them like human beings. The Nuremberg Laws and the Holocaust itself took away the Jews' rights to belong and be equal, live freely, and enjoy a safe life, all fundamental human rights that everyone deserves. One of the best ways to normalize Holocaust education is to provide safe spaces for people to freely and respectfully discuss the event and to learn from one another. For example, in 1986, Elie Wiesel established the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity. This organization created forums for discussion around urgent ethical issues to combat intolerance and injustice. Elie Wiesel also taught literature of memory for 37 years at Boston University, where he encouraged communication about vital historical events among his students. Elie Wiesel's advocacy exemplifies the importance of Holocaust discussion, a responsibility we all have that will keep the memory of the Holocaust alive.
These responsibilities are tied directly to the fundamental right everyone has to access accurate historical information. When we do not honor this right and instead allow propaganda to spread, it can perpetrate harmful misinformation and distort historical truths, ultimately leading to the marginalization and victimization of vulnerable communities.
And after the Holocaust, that's exactly what happened. The liberation of concentration camps and the official end of the Holocaust caused anti-Semitism to grow exponentially, especially in European countries still occupied by Germany. Anti-Semites were furious that the Holocaust had been put to an end and the Nazi regime had been punished, especially after the Nuremberg trials. A major example of Holocaust propaganda is the Institute for Historical Review, or IHR, an organization famously notorious for Holocaust denial. Founded in 1978 by Willis Carto and David McCulden, this organization published works claiming that the Holocaust was a myth and was made up by Jews for political gain. The IHR even claimed that the gas chambers of Auschwitz were a myth and promised $50,000 to anyone who could prove them wrong. When Mel Mermenstein, a former Auschwitz prisoner, presented the IHR with undeniable proof, the IHR rejected his claims, so Mel Mermenstein took the case to court and won. However, the IHR continued to spread rumors all over the internet that Mermenstein had lost the case. The IHR continues to publish papers today laced with unsearched propaganda. These papers have significant impact on the organization's followers, influencing their stance in modern political and ethnicical concerns. Despite all the harm that the IHR propaganda can and has caused, it is completely legal under U.S. law given the first constitutional amendment that protects freedom of speech. On the other hand, in 16 European countries, Canada, and Israel, Holocaust denial is considered a punishable offense, demonstrating that it is possible to prevent anti-Semitic propaganda without taking away basic human rights, like the freedom of speech. Understanding how to do this is extremely important as a global community.
Holocaust denial, well, first of all, it's horrific. It's insulting beyond belief. There's so much misinformation on social media and then disinformation. So people hear the wrong thing and then they spread the wrong thing. So it's really important to do your research and find out for yourself the facts.
Everyone has the right to true historical information over propaganda and rumors. The Holocaust was a significant historical event with many profound long-term impacts that the world deserves and needs to know the truth about, not just for the safety and well-being of those who suffered, but so that we can all understand how the Holocaust has changed our lives and the world. The Holocaust has left an indelible mark on global consciousness and the way we talk about justice and persecution, permanently changing our global governance system in more ways than one. Primarily, the Holocaust resulted in the establishment of the United Nations and the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, a global commitment to the dignity and rights of all people. The Holocaust also spurred the coming of the term genocide, a term created by Polish-born lawyer Raphael Lemkin, whose family died in the Holocaust. Genocide went on to become an international crime, allowing for the Nuremberg trials as well as the prosecution of atrocities in Rwanda and Bosnia to be conducted. Overall, the Holocaust was a tragic event that reshaped not only the lives of those who lived through it, but also the very fabric of global society. Its legacy is a constant reminder of the importance of education, restoration, and the pursuit of justice. As survivors like Elie Wiesel have tirelessly advocated for, we must speak out, ensure the truth is never forgotten, and protect the dignity of every person. By teaching future generations about the atrocities of the Holocaust and working to restore the Jewish culture, we can contribute to a world that stands against hatred, prejudice, and injustice. The responsibility to uphold human rights and justice is one we all share, now and always.